All right, Perks Recap Podcast. We are back. It is time. It is finally time. The longest off season in professional sports is just about over because I don't count the preseason. But anyway, NFL's back. Al is back with me. Al, how you doing?
Great. It's good to be back with you, Craig. This is, you and I are both on the same page here about the excitement level of this time of year. I love it. I cannot wait. My Birds kick off the season in frickin' Brazil, which annoys me, but it is kind of cool in the sense that I get to watch them on a night when nobody else is playing.
That's true. By the way, I think we're headed in the NFL towards them doing, I think, every night of the week except maybe Wednesday.
Yeah, there's no stopping them now. There's no stopping them. They've thrown out all pretense of giving a crap about the players. They just are doing what they want to do, and it is what it is.
I hear you. And I totally agree. Okay. Well, let's get to it. This is our predictions episode. We're going to give our predictions for every division, every playoff game, Super Bowl winner, and even some awards, and go through the whole gambit. If you're ready for that, let's get started.
I can't wait. We're back where it all began, man. This is where we started this whole thing last year. Our first time we ever did something like this. So I can't wait. Another football season to head into with you. Let's go.
All right. Let's start. We're gonna go. We'll go to the North divisions first.
Okay.
So, who do you have winning the division? I have Baltimore winning the division, but at 10-7, tied with the Bengals and the Ravens getting the tiebreaker.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little different. I have the Ravens at 13-4. Big
Okay.
year for the Ravens. Bengals 9-8. In second place, tied with the Steelers at 9-8, but I have the Bengals winning that tiebreaker, and then the Browns at 7-10.
Okay. Um, well, I'll go through real quick and then we can talk about them. I have the Bengals also at 10-7. I have the Browns at 9-8, and I have Pittsburgh 6-11.
Right on, right on. Okay.
So now I say the NFC North is probably the toughest division in football. And the Ravens, the reason why I didn't give them a huge win total is they've got the Bengals and Browns, obviously, and then their non division slate has the Chiefs, Cowboys, Bills, and Eagles.
Yeah, it's no joke.
That's a lot, I think, to ask for them. And, Lamar, I'm always worried about injuries with him. And I'm not a huge. I think Derrick Henry's on the downside. I'm not all that impressed with that. They got Henry. I don't think he's going to be an upgrade individually, but their running game as a whole and its totality from last year to this year, I don't think is going to be that much of a difference. And Ronald Darby and Patrick Queen left the defense, and their defensive coordinator Mike McDonald left. I just think they're not going to have as good of a year as they had last year. Um, but I do have them still winning the division but not at a big number at 10-7.
Right on, right on. Yeah, yeah. No, listen, they make good points. I'm not on the same page in how I come out on the other end, but you make good, valid points, no doubt about it. Ronald Darby leaving isn't going to hurt anybody.
Okay.
He was on the Eagles. He was decent for the Eagles 6 years ago. He's now 30, I think 2 or 3. So I don't think that's a big loss. The other one is Patrick Queen is a very big loss. But they always have 17 linebackers they can trot out that are you never heard of, and they're awesome. So you know what I mean? They're like the Steelers always finding decent receivers in the fourth round or something. You know, it's just some teams have this weird knack for things. Um, I am much bigger on the Derrick Henry edition than you. I knew you were down on him last year, and understandably so. I mean, he is certainly heading into the twilight of a great career. But if that dude averaged 4.2 yards a carry behind that Titan offensive line last year, I put the over under at 1,400 yards for him this year.
Yeah, but see, I don't think their offensive line's any better than the Titans. I think it's a little better, but I don't think it's a huge upgrade that everybody's saying. I think because they lost some offensive linemen too. I think it's an upgrade over the Titans, but not a huge one. And the Titans actually with their upgrades on the offensive line, probably now this year have a better offensive line than the Ravens.
I would have a hard time agreeing with that. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can find any kind of offensive line rankings while we're talking. But I mean,
Sure,
the Titans
sure.
were one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. So you're putting the Ravens there with them?
Well, I'm saying this year's Tennessee Titans probably have a better offensive line than this year's Ravens. And this year's Ravens offensive line isn't as good as it was last year, but still a little better than Tennessee's last year.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to
Plus,
agree with that, but
he's a year older. He's in around 30. He's slowing down. He started getting injuries. I don't know. I just again I still have him at 10-7 and win the division. So
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting. You caught me completely off guard with that offensive line point. And I'm trying to find something that would help me with that right now, but it might be
sure.
too tricky to do on the fly.
All right.
Um,
Well,
but
I'll
yeah,
just
no,
go
that's
on.
interesting. That's interesting. We should do a. If I bet you just a pride bet that Derrick Henry is going to rush for at least 1,400 yards, would you take that bet?
Oh, I would take the under all day.
Okay, done, done.
Absolutely. Put it on the board. Okay. Um, I think Burrow is going to have a monstrous year. I think he's going to be on a revenge tour. That's why I'm so high on Cincinnati.
Can
I
I
like what
interject
they.
real quick? Can I give you a quick question on that one, real quick? Because
Sure.
I love Burrow too, and I hope you're right. But if we're expressing injury concerns about Lamar Jackson, we have to express the same about Joe Burrow. He was now proved to be at least as injury prone as Jackson.
See, but his style doesn't really lend to the injuries as much as Jackson's does, in my opinion. He got hurt, but it was a wrist injury. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you got to be fair about it with the injuries, sure. But I think coming into any season, I'm always going to think that the running quarterback of a slender build is always more at risk than a pocket quarterback
I hear
in
what you're saying,
general.
but if you just look at the proof in the pudding, Burrow has missed the better parts of 2 out of the last 4 seasons.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, if he stays healthy, I think they actually have an outside chance to win the whole thing. That's how high I am on them.
Oh wow, wow, that's cool. Very okay. I love it. What do you? Okay, so while we're talking about the Bengals, because I think the one big concern with them, just looking at them on the trying to analyze this team, is boy did they leave themselves shy at the running back position.
Right. They have two question marks at the running back position, but it's such a devalued position. I think Joe Burrow is going to throw for fantasy leagues. If you want a good quarterback that probably you can get at a little bit of a discount, go with Burrow. I think he could have the best year of any quarterback in the league. I think he's going to throw, and Chase will get back and he'll be playing because I know people are
Completely agree.
concerned about that.
Completely agree. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm more worried about the running back than you are, but yeah, no, that's a fair point. Cool.
Okay, now the Browns. I just don't believe in Deshaun Watson anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. I was surprised you had the record as good. What was your record for them again?
I got him at 9-8 on the strength of that defense and him being just like okay, a little better, but I'm not great and not anything that's gonna blow anybody's doors off at 9-8. Um, yeah, I'm just not huge on him, but they've got a good offensive line and defensive line combination, both
Good.
lines, and anybody who's got two really good lines is going to be formidable.
Yeah, that's a fair point, man. Yeah, and I'm with you on Watson. I don't know what to make of him anymore. I think the days of him as a great quarterback are over, but we'll see. Maybe he can pull something out of the past here. Doesn't help them that Chubb might not be a factor for a good chunk of the season either.
No.
I don't. This was a tough one to rate for me. I didn't know. Like, I don't think they're going to be very good, but I do respect that defense a lot. So I 7-10 was the best I could give him in my mind, but it wouldn't stun me if they end up where you have them. It
Yeah,
just depends. If
9 wins in that area, I think is pretty fair for them, or or even 7. Yeah, that they're right in that range.
Yeah, with a healthy Watson who's at least playing league average, I could see them ending up there. Who the heck is their backup quarterback? I'm going to look that up while we're talking, unless you know.
Yeah, because they don't have Flacco anymore.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I think he went with Indy, right?
Yep.
Pretty. Yep, which means he'll probably play. um, Browns QB, because this is we could really find out who this is in a matter of weeks with Deshaun Watson's injury history. Here we go. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? Sorry, efforting, loading. Here we go.
Efforting.
Oh, that's right. They signed Jameis Winston.
That's right. Yes, he
So
might. He might win. He might end up with a job. To be honest,
I'm not sure he's not better than Deshaun Watson at this point.
totally with you. Totally agree.
Right on.
Yes.
Right on. Okay, very
All
cool.
right. So you had the Steelers at a little higher than I expected.
Yeah, you surprised me with the Browns, and I surprised you with the Steelers, and this is based solely on Mike Tomlin. And that they finally pulled their head out of their collective asses and fired Matt Canada, um,
Right.
who I think was one of the worst offensive coordinators in football the last 5 years. Um, Now they they replaced him with a guy out of a time machine from 1937 in Arthur Smith. So I don't know how that's going to work out. The last time he was an offensive coordinator, he was very good in Tennessee, doing an old school sort of thing. So we'll see how it works in Pittsburgh. But this is a Tomlin thing. I just listened to our preview thing from last year because I wanted to remember what we did. You know what I mean? So I had everything ready, and I picked the Steelers at 6-11 last year,
Right. Well,
and I
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. No, you please go.
I was saying I'm thinking that we were because I was down on them too. Maybe I don't think maybe as much as you, but I think this year it actually does come tumbling down. There's a couple things that I want you to consider here. The fact that in their division, Burrow and Watson both had season-ending injuries,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the league's toughest schedule in the entire league this year.
Yes. Now,
Questions at the quarterback position, questions at running back. I think they're under 500.
yeah, it's very possible you're right. I don't give nearly as much credence to the schedule as you do. I have in the past, and it almost never works out to be like it's going to be when you think when you're at the beginning of the season. So I have completely stopped looking at schedules when I do records. Now I don't know which one of us is more right there. I'm not sure, but I don't care about it because it's going to be different 6 weeks from now anyway. Um,
Yes.
so uh, I am going with one of the guy who I consider to be one of the top four coaches in football right now, and their quarterback situation is going to be way better than last year. No matter which one of those two guys they start, Russell will be better for sure. Fields. I still think there's something there, but I could be freaking crazy. I don't know. But
See,
Russell,
I'm not sold on either one of them. I don't know how much better it's going to be because well, it's got to be a little better. That's true, but
it can't be worse.
it might just be a little bit better and not enough. Like Wilson could be cooked. He could be just done. And Fields, is he more the guy from last year or more the guy from his rookie year? If he's the guy from last year and Wilson's done, they're screwed.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way Russell Wilson's done. I don't see how that could be. I mean, last year he had 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions for one of the worst teams in football. So I don't see where the reports of his demise are anywhere close to correct.
All right.
Fields is just a wild card. I still think there's upside, but I don't
Yeah.
know. So if they end up with Fields, all bets are off. But Russell, I think, can at least be a stabilizing sort of steady force for them. We'll see.
Lot of questions. All right.
No doubt. Questions abound.
All right. I'm going to move to the AFC South.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with I have Houston winning the division at 11-6. I love the Texans.
Nice, nice.
And a surprise, you might think is a surprise, but I don't know. Something's up with Trevor Lawrence this year. He looks like a man possessed. I got them rebounding a little bit in going 9-8.
Love it.
Then I
You
have
want
the
to just run your
Colts.
whole division and then I'll go?
Sure. Then I have the Colts in Tennessee tied for with 7-10.
Okay, okay, cool. So our order is the same, but I don't have a tie, and I'm way different between one of the two things. So Texans, I have winning the division. I have it 12-5. I see this. They loaded up this offseason, and if they get any kind of similar season or growth from Stroud, they are primed and ready to rumble here. I also like a comeback from the Jags. I don't know what happened last year exactly. That was as mystifying to me as the Eagles' second half collapse. I mean, it was just very odd. It was
I
they were the
mean,
two.
you get. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just saying you can't put a lot in the preseason, obviously, but Trevor Lawrence actually played the last preseason game and he looked sharp. And I've been hearing all glowing reports from him in the all the offseason camps and everything. I'm expecting a big rebound from him.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. They're a fascinating team. They gave him a weapon with Brian Thomas Jr., who I like. They signed Eric Armstead, which will help their defense immensely. That guy's a beast, one of the better non-household name players in the entire NFL, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I have them. I have the Texans at 12-5, the Jags at 10-7.
Okay.
And then one of maybe the toughest team to place this year for me was the Colts. Them and the Browns were the two toughest teams probably in the AFC for sure. Because I like Richardson, but that dude, in what we saw of him last year, what you said about Lamar Jackson, and I understand it, and I do agree to a certain point there. Although Lamar at least has learned some tricks on how to try and stay healthy over the years. Anthony Richardson has none of that. At least showed
No.
none of it last year. So my over under for games played by Anthony Richardson this year is 6.5. I hope I'm wrong. I really want to see this guy play. But is Joe Flacco going to take him to over 500? I
No,
think
I
he
think
used to. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I heard my own echo there. Sorry. He 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 had that magical run last year, but listen, that was the first time he was very good in 5 years.
Yeah,
So I
he's a
don't.
thousand years old.
Yeah, exactly. So I have the Colts at 8-9. I think if Richardson's healthy, that's a floor. But if he's not, that's a ceiling.
Right. If he plays every game, they can win 9 games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they could be a playoff team if he plays every game. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'm hoping he does because he's an exciting young player. And then I have very little faith in the Titans. And you make a good point about them upgrading their offensive line, but it's the guy behind the offensive line that I'm still worried about, and that's Will Levis. He showed some. He had that one great game to start his career last year, and then was very mediocre from that point on. So I don't know. I can't. I have zero faith in Will Levis right now, and so I have them at 3-13.
Okay. See, I like their additions. They added um, Jeffrey Simmons, he's awesome. They added Legarius Sneed, Chudabe Awuzie, and Quandre Diggs all in the secondary. So their defense should be very good, to be honest. And they've got a good running back tandem with Pollard and who's it? Ty. What the hell's his name?
Years, yeah.
Spears. I like that, and yes, Levis is the problem, which is why I have them at 7-10 and not any better. But I do like the way they're trending. I like the additions they made on the offensive line and defensively. They added 4 starters defensively, which is big. And yeah, that's why I can't give them any less than 7, but also can't give them any more than 7 either.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where they end up this year. They have and that's another thing, by the way, to watch for with the Bengals this year is they lost their offensive coordinator to the Titans. That could be, you never know how that's going to affect a team when they lose an offensive coordinator. Sometimes they keep trucking on, no problem, and sometimes it's like the freaking Eagles last year. You know what I mean? I mean, the Eagles hired Brian Johnson and regressed 1,000%. So I hope for the Bengals' sake they got a decent guy in that position. Um, uh,
Uh,
so rookie head coach, don't know much about, blah blah blah. One thing I will say, Jeffrey Simmons looked 47 years old when the Eagles signed him last year.
okay.
I don't know, and listen, I'm trying to figure out in my head if that was because the Eagles were a disaster last year or if it was Jeffrey Simmons, and I'm not sure. So there's a chance he could look like his old self now.
All right. Well, on to the AFC East.
Okay, this is a fun one this year.
Yes, it is. All right, I'll go.
Go for it.
I once again am buying into the Jets,
Love it.
but
Hopefully, get
not
more
at a
than
big
8
number.
snaps out of Rodgers this year.
Over under is 6. Jets 10-7.
Okay.
I absolutely hate the Bills off season,
I'm with you.
so I have them at 9-8.
Okay.
I have Miami at 9-8,
Okay.
and I have the Pats 4-13.
Oh, we are remarkably similar. This is the most similar we've been. Um, it's fun because listening to the one from last year, we were so similar last year. It was almost like we talked about it ahead of time.
Yep.
Um, and we're already been more different this year in two divisions than we were in all of them last year. So this is fun. But this one, we're very similar, just a little off on two of the records. So I have the Jets also winning. I think it's all about Aaron Rodgers staying healthy. But actually, let me say this: even if he's not healthy this year, I still think they could be a playoff team as long as Tyrod Taylor can stay healthy because he's one of the best backups in football. Um,
Yes.
he is not Zach. I already forgot Zach's last name.
Wilson.
Thank you. um, if there's one player in fantasy football this year that could be better than Christian McCaffrey, I think it's Brees Hall. I'm not going to call it. I would still take McCaffrey over him. But do you realize that Brees Hall had more receptions and more receiving yards than McCaffrey last year?
Really?
I did not until I looked that up yesterday. Yeah, he had 76 receptions, 591 yards. McCaffrey was in the 60s and the low 500s.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And he still hasn't had a full complement of rushes in a season yet, and he's averaging 4.8 yards a carry for his career. So that would be in the first round if I had the number 2 pick, that's my guy.
All right.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Jets 11-5 or 6, sorry. Then everything you said I agree with on the Bills. I still think they're good enough to hang in there over 500, so I have them 9-8 just like you did.
Yep.
I have the Dolphins 9-8, and I have the
Oh.
Pats 3-14.
Oh my goodness, we are very similar. 9-8,
and
9-8, 3-14.
and
Wow.
by the way, let me add this to what you said about the Bills, and as far as it regards the Dolphins. If there's any team in the NFL that had a worse offseason than the Bills, it's the Dolphins. They lost. Check this out. They lost Christian Wilkins, one of the best defensive tackles in football. They lost Xavier Howard, one of the best cornerbacks in football for the last 7 years. They lost their best guard and the most expensive offensive lineman on this year's free agency market, Robert Hunt. They lost 2 starting linebackers, Van Ginkel and Jerome Baker. And there's a couple more less. Oh, Brandon Jones, their starting safety. That is insane. That makes the Bills look like they didn't lose anybody.
Right. The Dolphins are probably 9-8 might be a little bit too generous because they also, considering how bad they were in the cold conditions of Kansas City in the playoffs, they've got outdoor games against Buffalo, obviously, Green Bay, Cleveland, and the Jets,
They have to go to
obviously.
Green Bay. Oh, that's going to be
Yeah.
fun. That's going to be fun. This team is fascinating to me. This team has one of the widest ranges of outcomes to any team that we're predicting today, as far as I'm concerned. They did absolutely nothing to address their horrific defense. Absolutely nothing. They lost some of their best players and didn't gain much back. So they're gonna take the over in every Dolphin game this year until proven otherwise, because they are going to score a crap ton and they might give up as much.
Right. Yep. I would say that for sure. Yep.
Fascinating team this year to me.
Okay.
Sweet.
AFC West.
Okay. I wonder who we're
Kansas
picking to
City.
win this division, Craig.
I have Kansas City. Imagine that.
The shocker of the day, right? Oh, before you go on your whole division run here, quick little fun stat. Did you know that they have now won 8 AFC Wests in a row?
Wow.
And do you know who the only team is that's ever won more division in their own division more in a row, and how many times it was? You want to take a guess?
It's Patriots.
Yep. You want to take a guess how many times? That I figured the Patriots didn't know the number.
12.
Oh, pretty damn close, my man. 13.
Yeah, that division was so annoying while they were on that run. Nobody was doing anything to even challenge them. It was so stupid.
They were so good, and everybody else was so bad. It was awful. Yeah, I'm with you. So
They had
anyway, go
6
back to what
wins
you
every
said.
year.
Yeah, it was brutal. It stunk. It was, and nobody annoys me more than the Patriots, so it sucked when they were so good. But all right, I just wanted to interject that real quick. Go ahead and do your records.
All right, Kansas City 12-5,
Nice.
Denver 7-10. By the way,
Ooh.
the only team in this division with a winning record is Kansas City.
Oh, interesting.
Denver 7-10, Vegas 6-11, Chargers 6-11.
I love it. I thought for sure you were going to give the Chargers a better record just because of Harbaugh.
No, because the Chargers suck. The Chargers are always disappointing, and screw them. I hate the Chargers.
I love it. I thought that vaunted Craig Charger hatred. And I know it's not Charger hatred. It's just because they always supposed to be better than they are. But I thought that Harbaugh
Well,
might have taken a little bit away of that. But I'm with you. I agree. I agree.
now,
Um,
now Denver. The thing about what I like, I think Bo Nix is actually going to be okay. Apparently, Sean Payton's offense fits him perfectly,
yeah.
and they have a really. I mean, I know you don't put a lot of credence in it, but they have a really good, easy schedule,
No, and I'm not poo pooing the schedule thing either, man. It's just
and
how
they
it
have two division opponents that they're going to obviously play four times, that they can beat in every game.
Yeah, that's huge.
I don't know. And again, I'm not predicting great things for them. I'm predicting to go 7-10, but that's why I have them above Vegas and the Chargers.
You and I, neither of in our draft show, neither of us really like Bo Nix. You know what I mean?
We
we
didn't.
talked. We were on the same page there, and I'll tell you, he's maybe the most impressive rookie quarterback in the preseason. Now, again, it's preseason, so all bets are. I mean, Bobby Hoying once looked great in the preseason for the Eagles, so all bet you never you take it with a grain of salt. However, there's nothing to not like about what you saw from Bo Nix in this preseason. So, and Sean Payton is Sean Payton. He has a record of doing this kind of thing. So, but I'll give you all mine. So I have the Chiefs winning the division like you, 14-3. Now here's my surprise. I had two surprise picks last year. Both made me look like I was off my rocker because one was the Bears and one was the Panthers. But this is going to be, and I'm going for another one again that might make me come out looking insane at the end of the year. But I am picking the Raiders to go over 500 at 9-8.
Wow. All right. I like it.
Yes, I loved what I saw from Antonio Pierce last year, and I'm rooting for him.
They got Christian Wilkins as
That's
well.
exactly correct. They robbed him from the Dolphins. It's a huge thing to team him with the existing defensive line that they have. Gardner Minshew mania is going to Vegas. I love me some Minshew. He is a solid plus NFL quarterback. He can make your team. I think the best way to put it maybe is he can make your team as good as it can be without a Mahomes or you know what I mean. Like
Right.
he's not going to screw you up. Is what I'm trying to say. If that makes any sense.
Do you
But
think the fact that I believe they're going to trade Adams at the deadline, do you think that's going to negatively impact them, or will actually work out?
well, if they do, yes. But we thought that last year, and Adams didn't go anywhere.
I think he's going this year. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, well, we had the same exact conversation last year, and I was with you,
Yeah, yeah.
and it didn't happen. And he has said 1,000 times in the offseason that this is where he wants to be. Now, that dude changes his mind as much as the weather changes. You know what I mean? So who knows? Obviously, it would affect them if they do. But listen, if they're anywhere near the record I'm predicting, they're not trading him. You know?
Right, right.
So we'll see. We'll see. That's an interesting one. And then for the Brock Bowers thing, last thing I want to say about them is they added a really interesting weapon. So I'm curious about them this year. We'll see. Uh, Chargers next at 7-10. I'm giving and I wanted to give them 5 wins based on their freaking terrible roster. Um, they are in competition with. Oh, I forgot to bring this. Okay. So 2 teams in the NFL have 2 of the worst receiving rosters that I have ever seen. Um, and I always refer to my late '90s Eagles when they had Charles Johnson and Torrance Small.
Oh, good Lord.
Charles Johnson and Torrance Small as your 1 and 2. Okay, that was the worst receiving core I've ever seen in the NFL. Now the Chargers have a chance to be better than they look right now because they have Vlad McConkey, and if he's great, it changes everything.
All
Um,
right.
but if he's not, Quentin Johnson, their first round pick from last year was terrible. And they don't have. I mean, their depth chart is just pathetic. And then the Patriots, holy crap! Kendrick Bourne. This is their depth chart for receiver. Check this out: Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas, the rookie they drafted in the second round, Jalen Polk. They even signed Jalen Rager to a contract.
Wow.
If you're signing Jalen Rager, and I don't know if he's going to make the team, but if you even are putting Jalen Roster on your Rager on your practice field, it tells you how bad you are at receiver. So there's a chance for two teams to be epically bad at receiver this year, and the Chargers are one of them. And then I have the Broncos. Even though I agree with everything you said, I still didn't maybe give them enough credit. Maybe I would if I thought about it more. But I have them at 6-11, and I wrote right beside it. Bo Nick's amazing preseason, but then I also was looking at their roster, and it is not super impressive. So I don't know how much Bo Nix can overcome that, or Peyton can overcome that. We'll see.
Okay, real quick about the Chargers. Does the Justin Herbert injury uh, play into what your prediction?
I didn't even know about when did this happen?
He's got plantar fascia.
Oh, because the thing he's been dealing with. Yes, yes. Um, is he going to miss time, or what do we know about
That
it so far?
that I'm not sure,
It just sounds like
but
something that's going to be on the injury report every damn week, right?
probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely affects things. It definitely. I mean, anytime your best player or one of your best players is nicked up like that, it's definitely going to affect things. But I only have them winning 7 games, so it's not like I haven't taken over the world anyway.
Right, right. Okay, that's the AFC.
Coolness.
All right, let's go to the NFC North.
All right.
How about you give your predictions first
Okay.
for the NFC?
All right. We're gonna go Lions winning the division 12-5. Packers 10-7 in second. The Bears 7-10, and the Vikings. I believe they could compete for worst team in football this year. I put them at 4-13.
All right. Okay, I have the Lions 11-6, winning the division. Green Bay 9-8. Chicago 8-9, and Minnesota 6-11. And I might be a little bit even. I might be giving them too much of a break, to be honest. Um, I am very bullish on the Lions this year.
Yeah, me too.
Very bullish, as we'll see later on. Um, but I love what I've been seeing from Caleb Williams for the Bears.
Me
I
too.
actually think he's going to be very good. And the fact that they've got Roma Dunzier, um, they added Montez Sweat on defense. I don't know. They're trending up for sure. They're reminding me a lot, to be honest, kind of a Detroit team a few years ago when they started to show these little signs. And I could see the Bears being big players in another couple of years as long as all these trends continue. And really, really like what I'm seeing from them. I got them at 8-9, but it's a good 8. It's a trending up 8-9.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't give them as good a record, but I'm with you on everything you said. They also, another thing to mention about them, they have a loaded backfield. I mean, they have DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, who I know Roshan didn't have the greatest rookie season everybody was looking for, but I still believe in that guy. And the other two alone are very good running backs. So that's a pretty loaded backfield. And for the first time in my memory, they have a really good receiving core.
Yeah, they have a great receiving core.
So Caleb Williams has everything he needs to
Did you
succeed.
hear that Keenan Allen is 235 pounds?
What?
Keenan Allen apparently is 235 pounds.
Is that his normal playing weight, or he actually
No,
weighs? Where did that come from? Like, what the hell?
I don't know.
I mean, I've been watching Hard Knocks, and he's just destroying cornerbacks all over the field like he always does, except for Jalen Johnson. who locks down everybody. But
Maybe I saw a wrong report, but
well, maybe he did, and maybe but he's still playing well.
yeah, yeah, I
Interesting.
love
I
their
mean, maybe they'll have to
receivers.
switch him to a fullback.
But I love their receivers. I love the talent around them. They really they use their the salary cap uh, with you get a rookie quarterback. Your salary cap's going to have some space on it. They
No
use
doubt.
that space and they used it well. So I like that. Um, the Lions just natural progression every year. They seem to be getting a little better. Of course, we love the coach. Not a whole lot to say there. I just really I'm bullish on them big time.
Yeah, me too. Me too. They're one of the best teams in football this year. Plus, they did what the Eagles did and addressed cornerback issues by taking two of the top 7 or 8 corners on most people's boards in the first round and second round with Terry and Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw.
Yeah. Yep. So we got the Packers. Um, I've got them at 9-8. You have them at 10-7. I don't know. I don't know. It's a gut feeling for me. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna disappoint a little bit this year. I think
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
everybody's so high on them, and I understand why. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. I just got a feeling they're going to regress a little.
yeah, it's possible, man. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they surprised me last year. Being as good as they were. I
Yep.
I picked them to finish last in the division last year, and
Well,
Jordan.
remember Jordan Love? He sat and then he was good, and it proves my theory. At the beginning of the year, I was
Well,
wrong,
it
and
doesn't though, Craig. It doesn't though. Go ahead, but
you even said your theory's wrong on Jordan Love, and then holy shit, he went off, and he's he's the darling of the league.
but as I also said then, it does not prove your theory because it wasn't the sitting. We'll never know. But if it was the sitting that worked, why was he so crappy for the first 8 games?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true.
So once again, the theory is hazy.
It's definitely hazy. Um, yeah, that's true. Um, okay, let's see here. And in Minnesota, I mean, geez, the I like they got Aaron Jones, but I don't know how much he's got left to be honest.
Yeah, great player, getting old.
Yep, T.J. Hawkinson, whatever. Jordan Addison might get suspended.
And
Uh,
Hawkinson's not going to start the season either. He's going to be out for at least a few weeks, right?
yeah, returning. Yeah, he's got an injury. So yeah, Minnesota. I think it's going to be a tough year. Plus, they lost J.J. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they don't get to look at their future this year now, which is just a bummer.
And that's a bummer, exactly. So yeah, I got them at 6-11. You got them 4-13. So we're definitely down on Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah. We were similar in this division, just a little different in the records.
Okay, NFC South.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to go first through the NFC here.
Sure.
Okay. So this is a tough division to pick, not because they're all great teams, but just because there's a lot of I don't know. It's just tough. I'm going Atlanta to win the division, 10-7. Tampa Bay second at 9-8. The Saints third at 8-9, and the Panthers 5-12.
All right. Okay. I've got the Falcons winning as well, but at 9-8, and then no
Okay.
one else. Then no one else with a winning record.
Okay. I love it. I can see that.
Saints Saints 7-10. Tampa Bay and Carolina both 6-11.
Oh,
I think the bloom is off the rose for Tampa Bay.
I love it. I kind of wanted to pick that too, but I don't know. After last year, I had to give him a little more credit, but I think it could easily just turn to dust. So
Yep, yep. So there you go with the Falcons. Not a whole lot to say. They had Cousins, obviously, the quarterback situation. Um, but they're the best team in this division, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree, man. And listen, a couple of additions that mean a lot. One, obviously, Cousins is the big one. Penix, who looked like a world beater in his only preseason game. Who knows? But still the weirdest pick of the draft. But if Cousin gets hurt, then Penix is awesome. Everybody will be like, oh, what geniuses. So
Right.
a nice subtle little addition is Darnell Mooney. They needed some professional receiver on the other side of Drake London. And
Yep.
Not a world beater, but he's a professional receiver. And then the big move in the last week or so here was they traded for Matt Judon. That's a big deal, man.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I like what the Falcons are doing.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Tampa. I don't know. They got because Baker and Mike Evans were both free agents, and they decided to get them both back and run this whole thing back. And I can't wait to see if it works or not. I have no idea. Um, yeah, the Saints. I'm always ambivalent on this Saints team is weird to me. I'm not a big Dennis Allen guy. Um, they got Chase Young on a 1 year deal. I'm curious to see if that guy's ever going to live up to his potential.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's still only, I think, 26 or something. He's still pretty young. But yeah, I don't know. And the Panthers, who knows, man? I'd like to see Bryce Young show growth this year. Other than that, all bets are off.
Agreed. Well, Dave Canellis, I did some research.
Hmm.
The new coach, he worked with Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, and Baker Mayfield over the last few years, and all of them showed market improvement.
That's a great point.
So maybe he can start getting Bryce Young pointing in the right direction. As for the Saints, yeah, kind of ambivalent. I'm not nothing, too exciting going on there. Same thing, Tampa Bay. I mean, they lost Shaq Barrett, Ryan Neal, Carlton Davis. They're all gone. I don't know. I just think. Oh, and they have a pretty crappy schedule. The schedule is not great because they had a first place schedule. So they got
Oh, that's
Detroit.
right.
Yeah, they got Detroit, Baltimore, Kansas City, Dallas, and San Francisco.
Woo. Yeah,
They could
that's
lose all
legit.
those games.
That's legit. That is absolutely legit.
They could actually lose every single one of those games.
Yeah, no, that's legit. That's a legitimate concern for sure. For sure. Man, that's a murderer's row, and they're not that good.
No, they're not good enough to do it.
I think
Oh,
we.
so what are your records? I'm sorry.
Okay, so Atlanta 10-7,
Yep,
Tampa 9-8,
yep.
Saints 8-9, Panthers 5-12.
Okay, so you still got Tampa with 9 wins though.
Yeah,
That's a little surprising.
yeah. Hey, man, they did win the division last year with pretty much the
This,
same team.
this is true. Okay, well, the time has come. Let's run down the NFC East.
Aha. Okay, here we go. I'm going Eagles winning the division 12-5. Cowboys second 10-7. Commanders third 7-10. Giants fourth 6-11.
All right, I've got Eagles winning the division 11-6.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas second at 9-8.
Okay.
Washington 7-10. Giants 7-10.
We were very similar.
Yes. It's funny. Again, I always revert back to the New York media that I always listen to and stuff. They are still bullish about Daniel Jones and bullish that the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year.
How'd they like that pick six he threw in the preseason?
I mean, I don't know. That was horrible. But
I mean, despite all evidence to the
they think
contrary,
Malik Neighbors is
instinct.
already like a top three receiver in the league.
Well, listen, I will say this. This is the one thing about the Giants that is unfortunate for us as other fans of teams in the division. um, they have a competent front office, it appears, and it sucks because they were on a wonderful run for 5 years prior to that with a moron. Um,
Right.
they made two of the best additions any two teams made this season by trading for Brian Burns and drafting Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
Now
Yep.
they were so bad last year that I don't know how much of a difference that makes. Even if they have a healthy Daniel Jones and he plays as well as he did in his best season, which was still fairly mediocre. Um,
Yeah, I
so
hate when they bring it up. Oh, he went to the playoffs and won a game, and he had a good to great year. He threw 15 touchdowns.
15 touchdowns, man. 15
How is
touchdowns.
that any? That's nothing.
It's not great by any measure. that's that's how bad his career has been that people are hanging on to that season as some kind of shining light.
Yeah. Um, they always say, I hear that he throws a great deep ball, so that way their neighbors is gonna be able to go deep, this and that. I don't know. I got him at 7 and 10, but I've seen things where people got him at 3 and 14 and 4 and 13. Um, Based on the fact that this was a funny thing. I saw well, I didn't see it, but I heard about a roster review for every team, ranking the rosters 1 to 53.
Oh, cool.
And number one, I don't even remember who number one was, but number two was the Jets. But anyway,
Interesting.
yeah, number two was the Jets, but the Giants were dead last.
And that does not stun me. It really doesn't.
I mean,
They
behind Carolina and the Pats and all them, and they're 32.
it's they have just been horrific. Like they signed two guards in the offseason. John Running, and there was another one, a lesser thought of guy. I can't remember his name. And Running is like a mid-level, mediocre offensive lineman, and that was their big signing. And this has been a story for how many years? I mean, this is like a decade now of the Giants having one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive lines in football. So they want to say, well, Daniel Jones hasn't been healthy, and he could be great if he is. Well, good luck keeping him healthy behind that crappy offensive line because it didn't get that much better yet again.
Yep. So you got them at 6 and 11,
6-11,
and Washington at
7-10.
okay, same as me. Okay. Um, as for Washington, I mean, it's all about Daniels, obviously.
Yep.
So it all hangs on him. Actually, unfortunately for him, but I've heard, you hear different things, and I've heard a few times that he was the best quarterback in the draft. So we'll have to see. But always fun to see a rookie quarterback, to see, the future, see what he can do, and at least the Commanders fans have something to watch and evaluate and see and get excited about maybe.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm fascinated by this guy. I was more like if you had to make me pick between Caleb Williams and him coming out, I would have gone the same way the Bears did. But that's not because I didn't like Daniels. It's just because I like Caleb Williams a little bit more. Um, what we've seen in the preseason looked pretty darn good, although again, it's very limited. Um, and you're right. The whole season is about him and what he is. Is he a great player? Is he going to be a great player? Is he a franchise quarterback? The other point I want to make about them is, I'm blanking on the offensive coordinator's name that used to be the Cardinals head coach.
Uh, uh, Kingsbury.
Thank you, thank you. For some reason, a group of people in the NFL, it's like they got hypnotized and decided that Cliff Kingsbury's a genius like 6, 7 years ago. I've never understood it. I don't get it. I don't know why he got a job in the first place in Arizona. I don't know why he's a highly sought after offensive coordinator. I don't know what I'm missing. He was an under 500. He's the only person in the history of the NFL who was an under 500 college coach who got a job in the NFL.
Yep.
So now everybody's all excited in Washington about this guy being their offensive coordinator. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, honestly. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. What do you think of that whole thing?
Yeah, I'm curious as well. What we're gonna have to see. The fact that he's there. You're right though. I don't understand any kind of fascination with him. He has not proven really anything in the league.
I agree. I don't get why he's such a like. It reminds me of when Lane Kiffin kept getting every job under the sun for a couple years,
Yep.
and that flamed out eventually, and this I think will too. But we'll see. Maybe he'll be the best offensive coordinator in football. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, man.
So your Eagles, I do have concerns.
Yeah, yeah. Fire away.
Um, I know Eagles fans don't want to hear this. I still have concerns about Hurts. The last half of the year last year, he was dog shit, and I want to see him be better again. I want to see what he was. I want to see him be the first 10-1 part of the season, not the last part. So I am not convinced he's that guy still. I'm still not convinced. I think he is, but I'm not convinced. Anyway, I
I'll
also
let
don't.
him hang out alone on that island.
I'm not alone. I'm not alone. There's plenty of people that have questions about Hurts.
Most of them live in New York, Dallas, or Washington.
Maybe.
Did
I mean, I tell you, I had
his
Dak
second place
over.
finish in for the MVP not convince you enough the year before?
Well, it did last year, but not. It did. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. Last year, he wasn't anywhere close to that.
Yeah, and he was hurt all from the Jets game on.
I don't
So
know. I'm
yeah,
still not convinced. I think he's going. If I gun to my head, I would say yes, he is
hmm
really good to great,
yeah,
but I still have doubts.
right on.
Um, um, and the offensive line is concerning to me.
It's arguably the best offensive line in football still.
See, I don't know. They lost two starters and they've played like garbage. Like their offensive line is I don't know how you could say one of the best. I think it's one of the worst. I think it's bottom 10. Bottom 10.
Well, have
And I
fun.
don't think it's too much
There's
of an
no
argument.
decision
I
on
don't
that
know
one.
how you could possibly think it's one of the best ones.
It has been
It's
for years.
Yeah, but they lost key guys.
They lost Jason Kelsey, who they drafted his replacement 2 years ago. Kelsey gave him his personal endorsement, and everybody thinks he's going to be awesome. And then they had to fill in at right guard, which they've done with a couple different people. They have their backups. Their top two or three backups could start for probably 15 teams in the NFL.
Okay, I mean, I don't know enough about it. I don't know, those details like you do. So, if they're going to play better, that's great. That's good for them. Also, Barkley being his age, I don't know. I think he's lost a little bit of a step, but I think he'll still be good. Um, but I don't think he's much of an upgrade over Swift. And yeah, but that's about it though. Other than that, I think well, you got your rookie corners. Are they going to be starting both of them?
No, DeJean missed most of the preseason with an injury. He started his first. He played in his first game yesterday. So he's going to have to work his way in. It looks like Quinion Mitchell's going to be the slot guy to start the season.
Okay.
DeJean will just be depth, and they're going to have Slay on one side, and the guy they signed from the Colts a couple years ago, who was suspended, Isaiah Rogers, I think it is,
Okay.
um, who was a great player who got suspended in that weird year where they changed the gambling rules and like 30 people got suspended.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys, and the Colts just cut him instead of ride it out. And he was one of the better rated corners the last time he played. So it looks like he's going to win that job on the other side, which surprised everybody, but in a cool way. So yes,
Okay. Well, that's all I got for the Eagles. And again, I still have them winning the division and winning 11 games, and obviously actually I have them as the number one seed in the NFC.
right on, right on. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Yeah, I I have to push back on the Barkley not being much better than Swift thing.
I don't. I think he is clearly lost a step.
Yeah, I think he clearly played behind the worst line in football for the last 5 years and still averaged 4.5 yards a carry. So um, and Swift is a you want to dig deep into stats. Swift had the worst yards above expected. How do they put it in this damn sabermetrics shit? But it's yards. It's, it's, it's expected yards versus yards gained. DeAndre Swift had the worst ratio of any starting running back in football last year, meaning he didn't get the extra yards when he needed to. I like him. I think the Eagles grossly misused him because they decided not to throw him passes, which is so weird. Um, but uh, but I think Barkley's significantly better personally. We'll see.
All right. You have anything more to add about your team?
No, let's hit yours.
Okay, I don't want to hit mine. We just skip mine.
Oh, I
Okay.
love it, man.
I don't know what their definition of all in is, but this is not it. I have finally, you know, I think, and I still think, and I was right. Yeah, last year, Dak Prescott is a better regular season quarterback than Hurts. He is a great regular season quarterback, but the playoff losses now, last year's game totally gave me a 180 on him. I am done. with Dak Prescott. I am
Oh,
done with
interesting.
him being
Okay.
my quarterback. I don't want. He's going to do it again this year. He's going to have 4,500 yards, possibly lead the league in yardage, 35 plus touchdowns, 10 picks, and going to lose in the first round again. And I'm done with it. I'm done, done, done. We need a new guy, even a guy who maybe not be as good during the regular season, and let him be the quarterback of the Giants because that would be fantastic, and I would love that more than anything in the world. Is if the Giants finally move off Daniel Jones and they go shopping for a veteran quarterback and they go with Dak. I would love that because
Oh,
they
I
would
love
tear
it.
their hair out. No, he honestly and legitimately to me had wide eyes and was fidgety and looked just dead set, just nervous playing the Green Bay, which is garbage for a guy who's what 7, 8 years in. He can't be nervous, and he looked legit nervous. So I'm done. He's gonna like I said, regular season top five in the whole league. I think. I honestly didn't think that, but playoffs bottom five in the whole league. Just awful. Now they lose Tyron Smith, although Tyler Smith really came out strong, and they lost their center.
Badass.
Uh, yeah, Biotish. Yeah, badass. Yes. They lost Dan Quinn, although I do like Mike Zimmer as a defensive coordinator, and apparently they all love Mike Zimmer. And
Yeah.
then they get Diggs back, which is a obviously great cornerback, top 10 corner in the whole league, maybe top five, assuming he's back from his knee. But right off the bat, Deron Bland, the other cornerback, he broke his foot. He's out 8 weeks.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I was like,
So it's like you can't catch a break on the corners.
you got to be kidding me. I mean, that's just unbelievable because they have, if healthy, they have the ability to have two of the best young corners in football at the same time, but they
Right, and they
can't.
never play together.
And last year you had the other digs around to stabilize things if one was hurt, and you don't have that this year.
Right. So, the fact that they lost some guys on defense as well. Although a couple of their injuries, they had their first round pick last year, tore his Achilles, was out all year. So they're going to have him. Uh, Overshawn is the linebacker Overshawn. He'll be he'll be there. Um, was he a first round or was he second round? It might have been a
I want
second
to say
round pick.
second, but I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me look it up real quick.
Darius Overshawn, I believe his name is, or Darius Overshawn.
Let's see here.
But he was out all year. He blew it out in the preseason.
DeMarvian Overshawn. DeMarvian. Okay.
Okay.
DeMarvian Overshawn. Hold on. I don't know why a bunch of YouTube videos popped up. Give me something I can read.
I think he was a second round pick. Now that I think about it more,
I
because
think you're. I'm pretty sure you're right, man. I'll have confirmation.
Mozzie Smith was their first round pick. I think.
That's right. That's right. Who has he shown any improvement this year? Because he was pretty much regarded a bust last year. What's how's
Right.
he doing?
But he's going to play.
Okay, because Nolan Smith is in the same having the same issue with the Eagles as Nazi, where
Yeah.
came out highly regarded, not doing very much so far.
Right. So the fact that they've made some, got hit with some losses, got hit with some injuries, and they really didn't have that great of an offseason to begin with. The
Round
12 and
three, by the way,
5.
Craig. Sorry to interrupt. Round three,
Okay.
but
But
highly thought of
he
guy.
was like the star and darling of training camp last year. Like they thought they got a steal with him. That's what they were talking about, how great he was, and then he blows his, I don't know if it was Achilles or knee, but either way, he was done for the year.
I remember that, and you were right. Whatever round he was picked in, he was highly thought of, no doubt.
But the 12 and 5, 3 years in a row is coming to an end.
Man, yeah, they just. I mean, any hope. I understand the Dak thing. I agree with you. But even forgetting the Dak thing, as hard as that is to do, uh, they did nothing this offseason. I mean, other than the draft, but I mean, they did almost absolutely nothing to help themselves.
Yep. You're making all these nondescript trades the last couple weeks of guys that I've never heard of.
Right, like they traded a corner for a corner. I saw. Um, they got that guy from Clemson from the Vikings, I think, right?
Yep, yep,
Yep. Who I remember a Booth. That's his name. I remember
yep.
liking him coming out as a speed guy who might turn into a football player. I don't know where he's at.
And by the way, any thoughts of Trey Lance or unseating Cooper Rush as the backup?
Oh yeah,
Forget about that. He threw 5 picks yesterday.
5 picks. I saw he threw for 300 yards. I was like, oh, maybe Trey Lance is doing something. Then I
And
saw
he had a 65-yard run too.
yeah, I mean, geez, he's so tantalizing. His talent is just off the charts, but man, he is not a good football player yet.
Not at all.
And that time is running out.
Okay. I'm ready to
Sweet.
move on to the West if you are.
Right, let's do it, my man.
Okay. San Francisco. By the way, I have them with 11 wins as well, just like the Eagles 11-6, but I have them the number 2 seed. I have no one in the NFC with more than 11 wins.
Oh, interesting. And you have the Eagles as the one, or
Yep.
oh, cool. I like it. I like it. I hope you're right.
So I have San Francisco 11-6. I have the Rams 10-7.
Nice.
I have Seattle 9-8, and I have Arizona 8-9. And Seattle is my kind of dark horse team that might sneak into the playoffs.
That's funny because I one of my notes about Seattle is could be better than the record I gave them.
All right. What do you got for records?
Okay. So Niners 12-5, which by the way, I have the Eagles and the Niners tied at 12-5, but I gave the one seed to the Niners. That's funny.
Okay.
Um, then I have the Rams at 2, or second in the division at 11-6. I really like the Rams this year. If the Niners weren't so damn good, I would have picked the Rams to go over because I just
Oh, by the way, remember I said that I did the 1 through 53, the roster thing that I saw, and
yeah,
the Jets were number 2, the Niners were number 1.
that makes sense. That does not surprise me at all. Um, okay, so Niners 12-5, Rams 11-6. Then I have the Seahawks at 7-10. But again, similar to what you were thinking, even though I gave them a lower record, I think they could be better. And then Arizona at 6-11.
Okay, I gave Arizona a little bit more too. I got them at 8-9 because I like if Kyler Murray can stay healthy. I think a connection with him and Marvin Harrison could be pretty dangerous.
And I don't, I'm not, I won't argue that at all. And I also like Jonathan Gannon, their coach. So I could be
And,
off on this one for sure.
and they're gonna start out rough. In September, they have Buffalo, Rams, and the Lions in the
Ooh,
first month.
yeah, that's tough. No doubt, that
And
is
then
tough.
October, 49ers, Packers, Dolphins, Chargers.
Wow,
So they're first they're underdogs in 10 of their first 11 games already.
that's wild. That's
But then
wild.
after that, the schedule really lightens up, and they might they might end up being competitive.
Well, maybe they start 1-11 or 1-10, and 6-11 is fairly
Yeah.
accurate with that. I don't know, but and also not that this is going to kill them or anything, but on a team that doesn't have maybe the great. I don't know where they fall on that roster list, but I can't imagine they're in the top half of the league. They lost Zay Jones for 5 games,
Yep.
suspended. Again, not that that's going to change the fortunes of most franchises, but he's a competent NFL player.
Yep. I love what the Rams are doing, like you said. I
Oh,
absolutely love everything that they're doing. I got them at 10-7. You got them at 11-6. So that's
yep.
fantastic. Not a whole lot to add to that. I mean, I have every confidence that they're going to be really, really good this year. And they're probably going to, win a game against the Niners. One of those Niners losses is probably going to be the Rams.
I agree. I agree, man. 100%. I think they are my favorite team that I did not have winning a division.
So I assume Philadelphia would be playing them, right? Because you play the second place teams,
Yeah. Let
and
me.
they were second place last year.
I'll pull up the schedule while we're talking. Eagles.
That's going to be a fantastic game. Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wish they weren't playing them, frankly, but you're right. Hopefully we get them at home. Let's see here. Doo-doo-doo.
I mean, I
There
don't
it is.
know.
No,
I'm
you're
just
right. You
assuming.
called it. You called it. And it is. If I'm reading this right, it doesn't really say, but it looks like they're putting the home team at the bottom of the two teams. So I think they play the Rams. They definitely play the Rams on November 24th, prime timer, 8:20, which is that's a Sunday, I think, right?
That's
Um,
probably the Sunday night game,
and then and they're at St. Louis, if I'm reading this right.
Los Angeles.
At Los Angeles, my bad. I morphed back to 1994 or whenever the last time they were in St.
Uh,
Louis. Oh God, is Dick Vermeil coaching this year?
oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. All
That's
right,
going to be a
cool.
great game, by the way. That's a
That is, man. Oh,
fantastic
that's
game.
going to be one heck of a game. Yeah, I'm big on the Rams. I really am.
And by the way, I know Dallas thinks everything, but it still is getting annoying. We're playing the Niners again, and again, it's in San Francisco.
Jeez, man.
Why? This is like the fourth year in a row. In every, I mean, obviously the playoff games have been in San Francisco because they have the better record. But even the regular season games, we play them at least 3 years in a row, and every time it's in San Francisco. What the hell?
Yeah, that kind of thing shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't. I mean, playoffs are one thing, but regular season, no way, no way. You know, I'm still pissed. The Eagles are starting in Brazil, like I said at the beginning of the pod. I just, you know, it's like that's a completely. That's, by the way, that is one of the Eagles' 7 home games.
I was going to say, is that a home game? That sucks.
Yeah, it blows. I mean, it basically just takes out one game of home field advantage.
And in a good game, a good team too. You're playing.
Yeah, it's not like a gimme. It's not even close.
No,
So yeah, man, no, it's a real bitch. It really is. This international stuff is tough. And imagine, and you know, it's an issue with the Jaguars. Are they doing 2 games in London again this year? I didn't even think about that
I don't know
until.
if they're doing two, but I know there's London. There's more international games this year than any other year.
And the Jags have played more games in London than any other team. Their owner wants to build to expand over there, so he volunteers them every year.
Yeah.
That's got to be a handicap for them, man. It can't help.
Okay, so there are some questions with the Niners.
Okay, fire away. I love it. Let's go.
Well, their schedule's tough, and they have negative rest advantage, meaning they are playing 4 teams coming off their bye week.
Oh, this happened to the Eagles last year, and it was a factor, no doubt.
And then you got, the improved Rams and Seahawks teams, and they have the 16th ranked offensive line.
Interesting. Okay. And to add on top of that point, their best offensive lineman is old and injury prone at this point in his
Yep.
career.
And this guy that I'm reading has them under 11 wins. He took the under on 11 and a half.
I would love that. I was trying to find a reason to put the Rams winning this division, and if I had read that, I might have talked myself into it.
So don't get me wrong, though. I still think they're going to, I think they're going to be fine. But that's one person's opinion, and we'll have to see. Um,
And
as
also, if
to,
I could throw this out there real quick, Ayuk, what's is he going to be a Niner?
I think he's going to be a Steeler.
That's, I mean, that seems. This is one of the weirdest ones. This is dragged out longer than anyone I remember since like Keyshawn Johnson when he was on the Bucks and he missed a whole season or whatever that was that one year.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
This just keeps going
Um,
on and on.
depends on what they get for him, but if they don't have him, that's another big hit.
I completely agree. I mean, they have a boatload of freaking weapons there, so it wouldn't hurt them as much as some other teams, especially if Ricky Pearsall ends up being a player, which I don't know yet. He's been hurt a lot through preseason, but you lose an Ayuk, man, who is a real football player. He's a heck of a receiver, but he's also a blocker. He does everything you want a football player to do. It's not going to help your team.
Yep. As for the Seahawks, I really like their guy. I like Mike McDonald, the new coach.
Yeah, from the Ravens. Yep.
Yep. They might be able to start fast because they have Denver and New England the first 2 games.
Ah.
Um, Byron Murphy on the defense,
Yep. Yep. And they
and
kept Leonard Williams after trading for him last year.
yep, Geno Smith obviously is just fine, but fine is good enough.
Yep.
And they're a sneaky team for me this year. I got them with 9 wins.
I don't mind that. This is one of the teams I put could be better than the record I gave them beside them, and I did that with Arizona too. They're the two of the only teams I did that with. Um, yeah, it's all about the new head coach and getting his regime going quickly.
Yep, yep. But they have some talent over there. They're
I
not. They're
agree,
not.
man.
They're not a train wreck.
I agree. I like their running back. I like their running backs, I should say. I like their receivers. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, has a chance to burst into being a number one fantasy guy. Not this year, but this year, 2025, I think he's drafted as a number one receiver.
Yeah, I think this could be a breakout year for him.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you for putting a better
N-
word in my mouth.
Not a huge breakout, but like you could start to see some big improvements, and then next year really, really going off.
That's what I'm thinking, man. I'm right there. That's exactly what I was trying to say, and I didn't say as well.
Because
Thank
there
you.
was a lot of hype about him last year, and I remember thinking that it might be a little too soon, and it was, but he could still turn into something.
I agree, and the both of those receivers they've had there forever in Seattle are not going to be there for much. DK Metcalf is still going to be there for a few more years, but Lockett, this might be his last year.
Yeah. Okay, that is all of our predictions. Let's move on to the playoffs.
Let's do it.
These are sure to be wrong.
Yeah. The fun thing in 16, 17 weeks or so will be to see how many teams we picked that didn't even make the playoffs.
Right, right. Okay, so I'm gonna go off my AFC teams first. I have Kansas City. My division winners are Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore, and the Jets, and that's the order that I have them in. As Kansas City the 1 seed, Houston the 2, Baltimore the 3, the Jets are the 4, and then wild cards I have Cincinnati the 5,
Hmm.
Jacksonville the 6. Yes, I got the Jags back in, and Buffalo the 7 seed.
We are very similar, my man. I'll go through the. You want me to go through the seeds real quick, and then we'll talk about who we had winning.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm with you on the Chiefs, number one. Then I have the Ravens 2 instead of the Texans, and but I have the Texans 3. Then Jets 4, Jags 5, Bengals 6, Bills 7.
All right. Okay, so the first week, for me, the 2 versus 7, Houston. I have Houston over Buffalo, Baltimore over Jacksonville in the 3 versus 6 game, and I have in an upset the number 5 Bengals over the Jets.
Oh, that's funny, man. Check this out. Even though we have different matchups, I have Ravens beating the Bills in the 2-7, Texans beating the Bengals in the 3-6, and the Jaguars beating the Jets in the 5-4.
Texans over who? Who?
Texans over Bengals.
Okay, and then Jacksonville over the Jets.
Yes.
Jets fans will lose their mind. That's going to be funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so and then the following week, I got Kansas City over Cincinnati, the 1 versus 5.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston over Baltimore. Yes. Texans over Baltimore.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, I have the Chiefs over the Chiefs over the Jags. Put my emphasis on the right place there. And and then I went with Ravens over the Texans. But boy, I really like this Texans team, and I was tempted to pick it. So I kind of hope you're right there.
So I'm sorry, you had the Ravens over the Texans?
Ravens over Texans. Yeah. So we end up. I'm ending up with a 1-2 seed AFC Championship game. The
Me
way.
too. We just have different seeds.
Right on. Right on.
I have Kansas City over Houston and going back again.
Okay. Okay. Yes, and this is where I went a little wild. I picked the Ravens. I got a feeling this could be the Ravens' year. I don't know. We'll see. It's all about Lamar Jackson being healthy,
Yep.
but yeah, I have them taking out the Ravens and going to the bowl, or
Take
taking
out
out
the
the
Chiefs.
Chiefs. I'm sorry, they're
Yep.
taking out the Chiefs. The Ravens going to the Super Bowl.
Okay. NFC.
Oh,
Detroit. I got Detroit over Green Bay in my 2 to 7. Oh, first I'll go through the seeds. I'm sorry.
yep, cool.
My number 1 seed are the Eagles
Okay.
at 11-6. Also at 11-6 is Detroit. I have 3 teams 11-6. I'm always saying 2.
Oh yeah,
Detroit's also 11-6, and they're the 2 seed over the Niners, and the Niners are the 3 seed at 11-6.
cool.
And then Atlanta, the 4 out of the South. They're the only team out of the South. I have uh, wild cards. The 6, I'm sorry, the 5, the Rams. The 6, the Cowboys, and the 7, Green Bay.
Okay, okay. So I have Niners getting the bye, tied with the Eagles at 12-5. Eagles 2, Lions 3, Atlanta 4, Rams 5, Cowboys 6, Packers 7.
Wait a minute. I think other than 1 and 2 were the exact same.
Oh, crap. I think you're right.
Your 7th seed is Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
So's mine. Your 6th seed is Dallas.
Yep.
So's mine. Your 5th seed are the Rams.
Yes.
So's mine. Your 4th seed's Atlanta.
Yep.
So's mine.
That's crazy. Okay. It was a roundabout way to get into the same place.
Yeah. Okay, so I have Detroit over Green Bay, San Francisco over Dallas again, because why not?
Right. Might as well make it official. That's great.
And then the Rams over Atlanta, because I think they're a better team than Atlanta. They're just in a tougher division. Even though it's a 5 versus a 4, I'm picking the 5 seed, the Rams.
Well, here we go, bud. It took a while, but we're back in lockstep, my friend. Other than those little differences in the top seeds there, I have the Eagles beating the Packers in the 2-7, the Lions beating the Cowboys in the 3-6, and I have the Rams beating the Falcons in the 5-4. Because of every reason you just said. I think they're a better team in a better division.
Rams over Falcons. Okay. So that leaves my upset. I have the Rams over the Eagles.
Ooh, okay. I listen. I like the Rams a lot. I could see it happening. I would hate it if
And
it
then
did.
my next upset, although the seeds are, it's the higher seed, but it probably would be considered an upset. I have the Lions over the Niners.
Oh, love it. All right. So that sets up what, a Lions Rams NFC Championship game.
Yep.
That's a cool game. Okay. So I have my matchups were Lions at Eagles, and I'm picking the Birds. And the Rams at the Niners, and this is my upset. I'm taking the Rams. This is where I'm putting the Rams over the Niners, even though I didn't do it in the division. Which sets up Eagles or Rams at Eagles. Eagles win.
Okay. And then in the Super Bowl, I have Detroit and Kansas City, and Detroit wins the Super Bowl.
Ooh, I love it. I would love, other than the fact that it would mean my Eagles didn't win, I would love that because I love this team. They've become my second favorite team in football. I think they're just. I love Dan Campbell. He amuses me to no end, and he's a good football coach. So I mean, other than that, it would make me sad my team isn't in it. I love it.
Yep.
Well, I went full homer and picked Eagles over Ravens. And my only, because I absolutely love this Eagles offseason. I think they loaded up for years with this offseason. Um, they're in. They have the best cap manager in football, so they are always able to add players. Even when you listen again this year, people will be talking about the Eagles don't have any cap room about week 16, 17 when they start talking about the offseason, and yet the Eagles will add whoever the hell they want in the offseason again, like they always do, because nobody's better at the cap. So my only concern is that I'm a year too soon on this because these defensive guys that drafted are going to have to be really good, really fast. But everything people are talking about Quinyon Mitchell as a shutdown corner already, so I am all in. Let's go.
I gotta say, man, there's gonna be some great games.
Mm,
I mean, Rams
absolutely.
Eagles is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's just gonna be a lot. Green Bay Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, geez, it's some great game. I like your Rams Lions NFC Championship. That would be a heck of a game too.
Yep. Cincinnati in uh, Baltimore gonna be a great
Yes,
game.
and I have Cincinnati and the Texans, which would also be a great one.
Yeah, even I'm thinking even just regular season games are going to be great. Even that week one Jets Niners is going to be interesting.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Yes. There's so many fun matchups. I'm with you 100%, man.
I
100%.
am I am psyched and I am ready for this.
Cannot wait.
2 weeks, man, 2 weeks.
I know. All the preseason is done.
And actually, the first game, the Thursday game, is a week and a half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. The Brazil Eagles game. Yep, absolutely,
Well, no,
absolutely.
the Thursday game too, the Kansas City Baltimore.
Oh wait. Oh, I forgot that it's the Thursday, and is the Eagles game Friday?
Yeah.
That's right. I was thinking the Eagles game was the first game. My bad. Yes, I'm
No, no,
with you.
no. They have Kansas City Ravens on Thursday, and then the Eagles game is on Friday. So, and that's what is that? 10 days away?
Yeah,
11?
that's so awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we're almost there, my man. We are almost there. Cannot wait.
And just a reminder for everybody, we will have our two shows a week, like we always do, previewing the week and reviewing the week that was. Every single week. We did it all last year. We're going to do it all again this year, and we keep track. We hold ourselves accountable for the season long and the weekly. Every week we do our picks, and then the following week we go over our picks and what we got right, what we got wrong, and any thoughts we have on the matchups. And I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it.
Ah, I love it, man. I appreciate you. You brought me. You put out that call on the old Perks recap reaction channel. Which, by the way, check that out if you don't know about it already. Best music reactions in the business. And I answered the call. Little did I know it would lead to a long term and now heading into season 2 of doing football talk, man. And I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You're. I mean, you weren't kidding about the knowledge of it and everything, and you're so well. You're much more well spoken than I am. I fumble over myself all the time, so you put a little bit of more credibility onto this. So I'm thankful for the fact that you answered the call and not some jamoke who doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's so awesome, man. Nah, that's yeah. It's a mutual admiration society, my man, and I love it. And I can't wait to kick off this season, man. Can't wait.
Okay, so that's our prediction show. What's going on over on Bring 'Em Out?
Okay, well, Bring 'Em Out is still on our hiatus. We're coming back in September.
Okay.
There are 86 episodes with video, if you like that, or just audio, if you prefer that, on all the listening apps and YouTube under Soul Joel TV is the channel. The pod is called Bring 'Em Out, and it's mostly comedy, some other fun stuff sprinkled in here and there.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's going to do it. I'm ready. This will be out on, if you're listening to this now, any listener, it would be Monday, the 26th, I believe Monday is.
Yes.
And it'll be out in the morning. So that'll be it for this week. And then next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be recording on Tuesday and releasing it on Wednesday. The the first week one prediction show.
Yes. Cannot wait, my man. Cannot wait.
All
Woo!
right, Al, once again, I want to thank you for joining me as always. And until next time, until next week, I will see you later.